What happens, I mean, you've observed it, you observe it all day long. What happens when the human soul encounters kindred spirits? It's a kind of magic, no?
That's exactly what it is. And over the years, that's what we've been cultivating. So producing, it's more than just producing news. It's trying to find that accord with the reader. And what happens when you do that, it transcends just whatever mechanism that you've used to communicate with them on. It goes beyond that to the point where there's a connection to the brand, and not just to the brand because that's a point of leverage or broadcast point, but it goes further than that because there are connections with all the people that you associate with that the brand introduced you to, right? And so as a technology partner, my agency W3 Edge has been working to characterize and help people understand how content consumption cultivates these communities, and how once you understand how people consume content, what content is effective, what can you do to duplicate that process and encourage these communities to develop?
Now, this is all about cultivating communities. The whole idea of the relationship era and marketers' participation in it is all about cultivating communities. But what's good is that we're all hardwired to look for communities, right? I can think of a pretty good analog example. You're meeting somebody new. You're at their place for the first time ever, right? Maybe you're on a date or something, and you're sitting there and you're looking at the bookshelves and the CD rack to see what's going on there, to give you clues as to whose place you're visiting. And a good positive sign would be, I'm old, right? So Beethoven, American Songbook, Dizzy Gillespie. A very bad sign, Celine Dion, right? It's like, run for your life.
Bob, I thought you were going to say the Jonas Brothers. I was about to be very offended.
Of course, the Jonas Brothers, I'm putty in her hands, whoever she is, yeah. But I'm glad you brought that up, Nick, because, I mean, let's face it, for this audience, not necessarily a big Venn diagram overlap between this crowd and the Jonas Brothers, right? I mean, it's not necessarily Swedish art directors, I don't think, are very heavily in your demo.
I'd say so.
Huh? Talk to me about that. Is this your crowd?
No, I think that the season my brothers and I are in as individuals and as a group is about expanding that audience and really creating the next level for us as a band and, like I said, as individuals. And we're all taking different steps, and we've had a pretty intense journey so far, about a 7-8 year long journey of building our audience up, building a relationship with them, using our online world, and also what we've had so far in the mainstream world as well. But it's been an exciting journey, and I'm looking forward to sharing kind of what we've learned about it so far, and hopefully giving some insight as to how it can help all of you and your business as well.
And as coincidences go, Bob, Nick was actually up in Sweden with writers and producers of Swedish pop music the last week. So.
And there you go. And there you go. You're not a newcomer to this world. You actually, your act was built substantially in social media, right? Not necessarily before it became big with labels and traditional media. Tell me that story.
If I can just take a minute to kind of run through the history. I was signed as a solo artist first to Columbia Records. Did a solo record for them. It never got released because my brothers and I wrote a song that ended up on that record, and we started our own journey as a group. And this was when I was about 12, 13, and we had the support of our label making the record, but when it came time to promote it, they didn't really know how to properly do that. And so we took it upon ourselves to use our online world to do that. So YouTube, and at the time, MySpace was the biggest way. And because we didn't have any support at radio or at TV, that became our biggest focus. And it became a way for us to connect with our fans on a really personal level first, so that if we had anything we needed to promote, it just felt like we were talking to friends. And I think it's been a really good thing for us in the whole journey, because we still maintain that friendship with them first. And then if there is a time where we need to talk about something that we want them to get involved in, or if we need to promote an area of our career, it is just like talking to a group of friends.
To expand the audience for the Jonas Brothers or for Nick Jonas as a solo act, to include the subversive postmodernists who are here in the audience with us today, would the relationship era be any more useful than just brand advertising, mass advertising?
Yeah.
You're still trying to jam a square peg into a round hole, aren't you?
No, absolutely not. I think Nick and the other panelists here actually embody many of the tenets of what we call the relationship era. This move from one-way, interruptive, persuasive media, where we seek to reach frequency, our audiences, and we've grown into something more meaningful with this social technology. What it's brought us from is a monologue into a real multilateral conversation, not a dialogue. I believe that's an erroneous term. It's an always-on multilateral conversation about brands, but it's something more than that. There are various things that can fuel that conversation. And I think what the Jonas group, Nick and his brothers, have tapped into is aligning themselves with brands and with causes that are congruent with the same values with those fans that connect with them so solidly. And really, it's a heck of a thing because Nick and his brothers are kind of role models for an entire generation globally.